Good evening. Welcome everyone to our City Council meeting for May 3rd, 2021. It's nice to see everybody here. It's also nice to have a whole day of rain. We needed it so badly. Let's go ahead and have roll call, please.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Here.
Councilmember Gonzalez? Absent. Councilmember Jaquez?
Here.
Councilmember Reed?
Here.
Councilmember B. Smith? Absent. Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Here.
Mayor Smith?
Here. Thank you. And let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Council. It looks like we do have a citizen's request to speak to Council, and that would be Doug Ray. Doug, would you like to come up?
Thank you. I'll make this quick. I won't go over my time this time, I promise. Just an update on the bill. I think last time I spoke to you all, I was getting ready to testify in front of the Senate, and we did, and we got beat in the Senate. We lost 4-1. But prior to that committee meeting, we were able to make one large amendment to the bill. The two words that were the most problematic to me were healthy and safe. And we tried to better define those words, and we tried to replace safe with treatable. But unfortunately, the other side wanted nothing to do with that. So there was so much noise made, they ended up pulling the language altogether. So healthy and safe were pulled from the bill, which was a pretty significant win for our side. And we didn't want safe pulled altogether. We wanted treatable to be replaced it because the treatable animals we're saving here in Fremont, they would now have to save in Denver and Colorado Springs and Boulder. But now that all the language is gone, they can continue to do what they want. But it's still a big win for us. And then prior to the bill going to the Senate floor, we got another large win. The bill was supposed to be called the Socially Conscious Sheltering Act. We got them to strip that language altogether. So we had two giant wins here. And the bill is on the governor's desk waiting for him to be signed, but it's a shell of the bill, what it was at the beginning of March. So I really think that the other side, they underestimated the small guys here because the small guys got some serious wins. So I wanted to thank you all again, John. Thank you so much for all you did for us because the fact that you guys passed a resolution meant the world to us, and we did what we wanted to do. We wanted to kill the bill, but we didn't get that happen, but we pretty much did. It's a shell of the bill that it was a while ago. So again, I just want to thank you all again. Thank you.
Thank you for the update, Doug. We really appreciate that. And you're the one that really did the work and rallied the troops, so thanks for taking
we
care
got
of
a
our
large,
animals.
KOA 5 was at the shelter tonight. They did a story on 4:30 and they did another one at 5. And it was a good talk. You know, I told them, you know, we started with 3 shelters here, ours, Max Fund in Denver and No-Kill, Colorado. And before you know it, we had 500, 600 people behind us. So we were making an awful lot of noise. In fact, when it was on the floor, one of the senators who was a sponsor bill said that they're getting ready to go out and solve world peace because the both sides, they were just hearing from both sides every single day. And I have to believe that no current senator will possibly take on another bill like this again because it wasn't a good bill to begin with. But, you know, we got what we wanted. So thank you all for appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug.
Now I'm going to head to Florence to give them an update. So thank you.
Oh, there you go.
Thank
Busy night for you. It looks like Tracy Swindler. Looks like you're here.
I was out in the hallway, I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? We can't miss having an invocation for our meetings. We need all the higher power we can get. So we'd like to invite you from the Royal Gorge Vineyard Church to come and give us an invocation, please.
Thank you. If you all bow your heads with me as I pray, please. Dear wise and loving Father, thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance and for our friendships. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. In the scriptures, you have said that the citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, since you have established those very authorities to promote peace, order, and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and in particular, this assembled council here tonight. I'm asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst of justice and righteous, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even though there may be honest disagreements, personal peace in their lives and joy in their tasks. I pray for the agenda set before them tonight. Please give them assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city. I pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you,
That
folks.
was beautiful. Any council member announcements?
Oh, I think I have one,
Okay.
and that is that we have a general government meeting where we're going to hear from both Cotter and CDPHE. That's Wednesday at 5, and then that's followed by a Urban Renewal Authority meeting at 6.
Thank you. I'd also like to give a report to the council members that I did have an opportunity last week to testify at the House of Representatives. This was on behalf of the Community Energy Choice Study bill, and it seemed to be well received. I got some response back from the state level, and hopefully it could open up some opportunities. I mean, it's a long-term thing. It would be a study that's years down the road, but just wanted to let you know that I did that. It looks like there's also from Fremont Adventure Recreation in the city of Canyon City, they have a ribbon cutting ceremony for the yard, which is the mountain biking park that they have where you can do the jumps and all those other kinds of things. This is really awesome. And that is Wednesday, May 5th at 5:30 p.m. and that's at the Eagle Wing Trailhead. And so you're all invited to attend if you'd like to be a part of that. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Let's move on to our proclamation, and we'll start with our mental health proclamation. And I would like to invite all of our council members to help in reading this proclamation. And so, how about on this one? We'll start at Council Member Jaquez and just work our way down. And Jaquez, if you could start with the title, that would be appreciated.
Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and
whereas all Americans face challenges in life that can impact their mental health, especially during a pandemic, and
Whereas prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, and
Whereas there are practical tools that all people can use to improve their mental health and increase resiliency, and
Whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our nation, and
whereas with effective treatment, those individuals with mental health condition can recover and lead full, productive lives, and
whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen share the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention and treatment efforts.
now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Ashley Smith, along with Valley-Wide Health Systems, proclaim May 2021 as Mental Health Month. I also call upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to commit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions. And with that, I would like to invite Dante Gonzalez to come up, and he is here representing, I believe, Valley-Wide, is that right?
Correct. Thank you. put this down here. First off, I'd like to thank you all for entertaining that proclamation and joining with Valley-Wide Health in this tonight. This year's theme of Mental Health Month is Tools to Thrive. So we're really trying to focus everybody on, there's this toolkit online at mhanational.org where you could get some resources on adapting to trauma and stress, dealing with anger and frustration, getting out of thinking traps, and processing big changes. So that's some valuable tools in the world today in this pandemic that we're all dealing with. So we're just really thankful for everyone here in the community for getting along board with us and supporting this year. So, very much appreciated.
Thank you, Dante, and thank you for being here to represent mental health wellness.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Our next proclamation is on the National Historic Preservation Month for May of 2021, and I'd like to start by inviting Lisa Stutz, our director for the Royal Gorge Museum and also over the Historic Preservation Committee.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. During the month of May, city staff will be producing and broadcasting PSAs to let property owners, local property owners, to know about the benefits of listing their historic property as a local historic property and how to apply for that designation. We want to encourage as many people as possible to take advantage of the tax credit opportunities that can help them with restoration and rehabilitation of their historic buildings, and to ultimately help preserve and protect the buildings and places that make Canyon City, Canyon City.
Thank you, Lisa. And we'll read the proclamation again, and this time we'll start on this side and work our way down this way.
Whereas local historic preservation is an effective tool for revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability and
whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds, and
whereas Canyon City has a very distinct and unequaled historic district and various historic landmarks, and
Whereas Canyon City has a vast network of dedicated residents, groups, and other organizations that pride themselves on the hard work and determination put forth in order to preserve our unique past for future generations, and
Whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has helped shape us as a community.
now therefore, I, Ashley Smith, Mayor of Canyon City, Colorado, have the distinct honor of proclaiming May 2021 as National Historic Preservation Month, and call upon the people of Canyon City to join their fellow citizens across Colorado and the United States in recognizing and participating in this special observance. And we have two people in our audience today that are doing some pretty big historical preservation, and they're the one and only item on our agenda today, so that's kind of fun. Let's move on to our consent agenda. Ryan Stevens.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council. Item 8A is to approve the minutes for the regular City Council meeting on April 19th, the Vision Committee meeting on April 21st, and the special City Council meeting with the Recreation Board on April 21st. 8B awards bid 3221 for magnesium chloride to GMCO Corporation in an amount not to exceed $20,000. And 8C receives and files a list of bills.
Any other questions from council? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda and agenda.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to approve the regular city council meeting and the consent agenda for the April 29th, 2021.
That would be May 3rd.
Second.
Or, excuse me.
Yeah.
Second.
So there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call a vote, please.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Here.
Councilmember Jaquez?
Here. Yes.
Councilmember Reed?
aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
Thank you, council. And we'll go back to our city administrator, Ryan Stevens, for our administrator's report.
You have the written report in your packets. There's a few things that are not in the report that I'd like to touch on. We have hired Kim Swearingen to come in as our Public Works Director. She will be starting on Monday the 10th. Very excited to have Kim coming to us. She's done some work previously as the Utilities Director for Pueblo West, and I know she's excited to come, and we're excited to have her. And then just a logistical item. Cindy had sent out an email regarding interviews for the Energy Committee and the City Council seats. Are those dates and times going to work for everybody?
I don't know if I've seen that.
Okay.
When is it?
Cindy, do you have those?
May, I want to say 11th and the 13th, but, no, I'm sorry, it was May 17th and 19th. We are
So-
doing them, the 17th was before the meeting, and the 19th was after the meeting.
So May 17th was at 5 o'clock, and then May 19th would be after the vision meeting.
I can't do it on the 19th. It's a soft openings for Fremont Provisions. I could do it on the 17th.
Which is which?
I believe the Energy Committee was on the 17th, and the City Council seat was on the 19th.
That was correct.
Okay, so that's going to be really important to have you there.
So we can find another date for the City Council seats and send that out.
Is there a preference from council? Would you prefer to have those on 2 different dates, or would you prefer to have it all in one?
Can we do it all on the 17th?
Just get it done?
Yeah.
We couldn't do it before at 5 o'clock. We would not have enough time to get through them by the time we started our meeting at 6.
But we could do it afterwards.
Yeah.
We could do it
Which-
after.
If we could just get it all done.
Limit the number of nights we spend away from our families. Any other opinions from council?
Oh, I'm fine with that.
So 17th at the end of the meeting?
Hawkes, would you be okay doing both of the interviews on the 17th?
That'd be fine with me.
Okay,
Okay, I'll get it scheduled.
thank you. Thank you for bringing that up.
And with that, I would take any questions on the written report in your packets.
I do have a question. We just barely opened up the Centennial Park restrooms and the Veterans Park, and it looks like there's already vandalism happening there. We still technically are in the middle of COVID, and I'm wondering if our residents cannot respect the public restroom, if maybe we should lock them up again, especially the one at Veterans Park. It's just,
We can talk about that. Unfortunately, I think when you lock just one, that tends to move the problem to
To another one.
another area.
is there some conversations that our Parks Ranger can have, saying that there are some jeopardies? Because there is an alternative bathroom that they have been using without problems for a
Yeah,
while.
we'll continue to have some discussions there and see what else we can do.
Or cameras on the outside or something. That's just really unacceptable.
Yep.
And then I also had another thing, Ryan, that you had mentioned in some of our individual meetings about the consideration of the parking spaces by the Royal Gorge Railroad at the depot, potential sell. And after the Blossom weekend, and maybe remembering how crazy busy things get during those festivals, and the idea that we want to expand the river even more, I definitely felt a reluctance to pursuing that, but I don't know what the other city
Yeah,
council
and I
members
haven't had a
felt.
chance to have those discussions
Yeah.
yet.
I was like, oh yeah, it's been over a year since we've ever had to really think about these things, and now that we saw that in person, like, yeah, that's prime property, we should not be giving that away lightly.
Right.
I don't know if you guys have
No,
opinions
I
about
was
that
down there.
too.
I agree with you. It was an absolute, yeah, we need it. Yes, we do.
So we know that if the train owned that, they would block that off during those.
Well, and during
events.
Blossom Festival and other festivals, that's where they park their employees, is in that lot off of 4th Street.
Yeah.
So it would probably be used for the same thing, which is train parking.
Yeah, but we're talking about maybe needing Black Hills, and making more parking there, because we're gonna need it. Why would we give it up? They have property that they can turn into parking. But that was
Okay.
just my personal opinion. I thought I would share that publicly. everybody else might have different opinions, and they can share them with you accordingly to their feelings.
Sounds good.
Any other questions for Ryan about updates, or have you gotten any updates about the shooting over the weekend?
Don't have any updates, and with it being an open investigation, we'll be waiting for CBI.
Okay. All right, well, if there's no more questions from council, let's move on to the next part of our agenda, and that is a public hearing. And so I would like to open up this public hearing and read item 10A. This is introduction and first reading by title only of Ordinance 12, Series of 2021, entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Canyon City designating the property and building located at 403 Royal Gorge Boulevard, Canyon City, Colorado, as a historic site. So turn the time over to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. As you said, this is a public hearing for the designation of the structure at 403 Royal Gorge Boulevard as a local historic structure pursuant to the city's municipal code. This property is also known as the Peabody Mansion. Other names it's been called is the Cleland Peabody Mansion, the El Rio Motel, and the Catalina Motel. It's located in Waiver Subdivision Lot 7 and 8 in Block 10. The current property owners are Kendra Labonte and Joseph Stott. They have been duly noticed at least 15 days prior to the public hearing, and signs were posted on the property. The original construction of the building was 1880 to 1881. The original owners were James and Ann Cleland, and the original architect, we believe, was George Rowe, who also designed the Robinson Mansion. The structure has not moved from its original location. The Peabody Mansion is a two-story brick second empire house as defined by the concave mansard roof, the bracketed cornices, and the central projecting pavilion. The house has two one-story bay windows, one on the west side and the other on the east side of the house. The 1.5-story brick addition on the northeast corner of the house was added in 1893, and the foundation of the house is primarily sandstone blocks. The Peabody Mansion has seen a couple renovations during its history. The original front porch of the house was replaced around 1946 with a wraparound porch. According to a feasibility study of the mansion done in 1991, the original brick facade was covered in stucco sometime prior to November 1969. The stucco and the wraparound porch have since been removed as part of an extensive renovation and restoration project in 1993. This project was coordinated by the Chamber of Commerce with direct involvement with the Main Street USA of Canyon City, the Upper Arkansas Area of Council of Governments, and the City of Canyon City as part of the River Street Station project. The renovation of the mansion was funded through grants and donations. Upon the completion of the renovation, a new building inventory of the Peabody Mansion was filed with the Colorado Historic Preservation Office according to the Colorado's online cultural resource database. The mansion was assessed to be eligible for the State Register of Historic Landmarks in April 1994, but the property was never designated at that time. The current appearance of the house has not altered much from the 1993-1994 renovation. The application states that the mansion is in need of restoration, cleaning and removal of the spalling due to the sealant that was applied to the brick of the house during the 1993-1994 renovation. This deterioration of the brick on the exterior of the house was even evident in 2005 and has continued to be an ongoing concern. The current owners of the house intend to rehabilitate the house and carry on the vision that Cara Fisher and Daryl Biggerstaff and the City of Canyon City had in the 1990s in saving this grand building. The Peabody Mansion is one of only 3 noted structures in Canyon City that are second empire. The other 2 are the St. Cloud Hotel, and the Robinson Mansion. Of the three Second Empire structures in Canyon City, the Peabody Mansion is the oldest of the three and is currently not listed on either the state or National Register of Historic Landmarks. According to the application form, the Peabody Mansion is the last of the grand homes that originally lined the north side of River Street, now Royal Gorge Boulevard. The house is primarily associated with two individuals who were deeply involved in local and state politics, the Honorable James Cleland and his son-in-law and former Colorado Governor James H. Peabody. James Cleland was an early settler to Canyon City. He became the second person to hold the office of mayor of Canyon City. He also served as a member of the last territorial council in 1876, representing Fremont County, and he served in the state's first state senate in 1877. James Cleland owned and operated a dry goods store on Main Street. He lived in this house with his wife and their son until he died in 1892. His wife, Anne, continued to live in the house with her daughter, Frances Peabody, and her family until her death in 1916. James Cleland's daughter, Frances, had married James H. Peabody in 1878. The couple had 3 children who grew up in this house. James Peabody came to Canyon City in 1875 and worked at Cleland's dry goods store. James Peabody served the community in many different capacities. He acted as city treasurer, city clerk, city alderman, mayor of Canyon City, school director from 1882 to 1890, county clerk and recorder, and in 1902, he accepted the Republican nomination for governor of Colorado. He won the election and served as governor from 1903 to 1905. During his term in office, the family lived in Denver, but returned to Canyon City and this house on River Street after allegations of election fraud and Governor Peabody's resignation from office in March of 1905. Following the death of Governor Peabody in 1915, Mrs. Peabody sold the house to a gentleman who operated a second-hand store and rooming house. In 1939, the city of Canyon City took over ownership of the house with a design to partner with the American Legion and the Works Progress Administration, the WPA, to demolish the house and make room for a large auditorium. The funding for this project fell through, and Mr. Litz purchased the house from Canyon City for $1,000, with plans to make it into an apartment. In 1946, Forrest Nichols and local businesswoman Dusky Nichols bought the house and opened the El Rio Motel. Mrs. Nichols sold the property to business partners Kenneth Owens, former Canyon City police chief, in 1951. The house continued as an office for the motel until roughly 1988. The city of Canyon City acquired the house again in 1992 from the Fremont National Bank. After extensive renovations in 1993 and 94, the house became the Chamber of Commerce and continued to function as their offices until 2019. Under these findings of facts, the structure meets the criteria for designation as listed in the city's ordinance. The building is at least 50 years old. The site is identified with historic personages or groups or which important events in national, state, or local history. The building represents an association with notable persons, and the building exemplifies specific elements of an architectural style or period, and the building demonstrates superior craftsmanship or high artistic value. As this is a public hearing, staff recommends City Council cite these findings of facts as stated in the staff report, the application form, and the Historic Preservation Commission's Resolution 4, Series 2021, to approve the Ordinance 12 of Series 2022 designating the Peabody Mansion located at 403 Royal Gorge Boulevard as a local historic structure. That concludes the staff report. I am happy to answer any questions you may have, and the owners of the property are also here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Lisa. Any questions?
No, but I do have one comment, and I just wanted to say thank you for that thorough and informative report, Lisa. I thought that was very professional. And the one thing that I would add, you're kind of glossing over one of to me was the important facts that I got from your report was the Second Empire that you're referring to is the French Second Empire, and that's a French architectural style. That if you've been to New Orleans, you may have seen something like that there. But to me, that was a really interesting point. Thank you for that.
Interesting. So you also know about architecture, unbounding limits of knowledge.
I don't think I was researching architecture in New Orleans.
Oh. Lisa, I also thought that was an excellent presentation, and I really enjoyed reading it. But I was very sparked with curiosity, maybe because of, I probably would have no matter what, but recent conversations on the national level. What was the election fraud controversy?
So, yeah, during the election, there was some major controversy regarding, I think, election fraud, coercion, on both sides, both Republican and Democratic. So he was part of Colorado history, the 3 governors in one day. So they had, I think he put something to the Colorado Supreme Court contesting the election results because it was the Democratic candidate that supposedly won. And it was, the court decided that the commission that they had established through the state senate make the decision to who would be governor. They decide sort of uniquely come up with this plan that he would accept the government position with the condition that he would resign immediately, and he did.
Huh.
So, yeah, it was
So then what happened? They had another,
his lieutenant governor
the lieutenant governor.
became the governor.
I never knew that.
Yes.
Councilwoman Reed.
I was just curious, I was going to ask the property owners if they could share with us a little bit more about what obviously the plan is to rehabilitate the building, but if you have or want to share maybe what you're going to do with it or what you're hoping to do with it, I would just kind of like
Come
to
on
hear a
up.
little bit more.
Kendra and Joseph, yeah, you can take your masks off for your.
Maybe why you built it or why you bought it. We're just curious.
Joe's a Mason, and I like old things. So,
Oh, thank
So
heavens
that-
you're a Mason.
yeah, oh, yeah, no, we wouldn't have tackled it if,
I
It's-
figured I could work on, do the brick, and if anybody could do it, I've been a mason for almost 50 years. So I thought, and I like the house, I think it's cool.
and we'll keep the downstairs, has commercial offices, but the upstairs, we're in the permitting process to make it residential and add a couple bathrooms,
Oh, nice.
so. And keep all the old stuff and maybe take down some of the new stuff and put old stuff back in.
Yeah, we're trying to keep everything period. There's not many pictures of anything, so we have to just kind of,
Go by other pictures from other buildings of that era.
Uh-huh.
But it's kind of hard. We're kind of running into roadblocks finding it. So,
Let's.
Sounds
But-
like a fun adventure for you,
yeah, an
yeah,
adventure.
it's kind of,
and an expensive one. Yeah.
well, that's kind of the thing too. So hopefully we can get the,
Tax credits is to help out.
and if we can get the permit process through, so we'd like
Get
to get
started.
the bottom, the downstairs, the commercial part, get it rented, or try to get somebody in there.
Mm-hmm.
We can't really do it till we get
Right.
we're mostly the permits for the upstairs.
Gotcha.
Because it had a bathroom and a kitchen.
We want to remodel that, but then we wanted to add another bathroom. But it entails going through the first floor. So we can't do anything
Till we get
on the
started.
first floor till we get the permit for upstairs.
Okay. What's your biggest hurdle for the restoration of the Peabody Mansion?
Mechanical engineer.
Yeah, we can't find an engineer so we can get the permit.
Oh,
There's none. None around here, so
So we've been leaving messages, but nobody's calling us back.
does anybody have connections to get them
Salida,
connected to a
Tar
mechanical
Springs
engineer?
Is where we're at.
and we didn't know it. I guess we went into this, we thought we were just gonna get ready to permit, but now there's
There's
new
another step.
commercial, so it has to go to a third party. And we got an architect finally, and then he said we have to get a mechanical to do the mechanical, plumbing
Drawings.
and electrical. So that's what we're
Waiting.
waiting for.
Awesome.
Any words of wisdom, Ryan Stevens?
Yeah, well, right now, just finding, engineers, and a lot of the engineering industry is backlogged.
Well, we find civil engineers and structural engineers, but not
Mechanicals are,
mechanical.
yeah, mechanicals can be hard. I'll see if we can, I'll see if there's anything that we have that we might be able to point you in the right direction.
Oh, yeah, we appreciate it.
You might also contact the School of Mines. They may have a registry of engineers that might fill a bill.
I've been leaving messages, but like I said, nobody's called us back
Well, we had a hard time finding the architect initially
to help us.
nobody would call us back because everybody's
Busy.
busy. And it's only a little bathroom. I mean, it's not a extensive thing, so they probably don't want to get really, they'd rather something bigger, they're on bigger stuff.
We need a lot more engineers in general,
Yeah.
big time, yeah. Councilman Hawkes, did you have something you wanted?
Yeah, just out of curiosity, because at one time when we were going through a lot of stuff, the building was utilized for the visitor center. Have you had any people, because a lot of times people remember locations where they stop to ask about things. Have you had any folks stop there to
Come
inquire?
on in. Oh, yes, they've come on in. It's like, well, their offices have moved to Main Street right behind us. So, yeah, they're still visiting.
And the reason I bring that up, because it shows you how that building stands out in people's minds.
Right.
You know, even though it was a stop for visitor center, they still have it in their mind with that building. So that building attracts people that have
Right.
been through here and come through here. And I wish you folks all the luck in the world to get everything you want to accomplish. You know,
We
I'm
think we
glad
can
you
do
bought it. Take good care of it.
Yeah, we're achieving a lot. We've got, because before when the chamber had it, I guess it was hot and cold. So we kind of addressing those, putting air
Central air.
conditioning, heating. So we got that
Take
going
care.
on right now. So that'll
get
be a
there.
lot better. Maybe the chamber would want to come back, I don't know.
Cute, well, if there's no more comments, I sure would like to entertain a motion.
So, Madam Mayor,
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
I'd like to move that we approve ordinance number 12, series of 2021, on first reading, an ordinance of the City of Canyon City designating the property and building located at 403 Royal Gorge Boulevard, Canyon City, Colorado, as a historic site, the Peabody Mansion.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call a vote.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Councilmember Hawkes?
Aye.
Councilmember Reed?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
The motion passes. Thank you, council, and congratulations to Kendra
Congratulations.
Labonte and Joseph Stott. Best of luck to you in your endeavors. We will now move on to item number 11A, and that is an executive session. Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick.
So, Madam Mayor and Council, I move that the City Council enter into executive sessions for the following purposes. An executive session to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, develop a strategy for negotiations, and/or instruct negotiators pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024E regarding the Recreation Center and related to the city's roads, property, project acquisition.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call a vote, please.
Councilmember Dennehy?
Aye.
Councilmember Jaquez?
Aye.
Councilmember Reed?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hamrick?
Aye.
All right, we will now be moving into an executive session, so we'll invite the audience to go ahead and leave. This will be a closed session for legal advice. Thank you for being here tonight. We sure appreciate it.